Shane from Wedding Win, where we connect you to the best vendors in your region. And today we have Jessica from JLP Studio. Jessica, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So Jessica, what inspired you to get into the wedding industry with your photography?
Many years ago, when I got married, my wedding photographer team was horrible. So from that point on, I made a promise to myself and all my future clients they would never have that experience.
How was it horrible?
Funny story. Some of my pictures we took on my sailboat that I grew up on, and we had lightning strikes edited into the background and seagulls along the posts and facing the sun. So everybody's like sunstruck and, squinted eyes and everything. So it had to go.
So you did not ask for lightning bolts or seagulls?
No.
And this photographer had put lightning bolts and seagulls into your photo and thought it was just great.
Yeah, that was the bee's knees, the next coolest thing.
All right, Jessica, so we know you don't like lightning bolts and seagulls in your wedding photos. So what is your photography style?
I'd like to say that I'm classic and clean. I like a little bit of color to be bold, but still very real to what you see every day. 10 years down the road from now, when styles have changed, my work can still be valid and still exciting, and grandma still knows what you look like.
You don't only do weddings. So what other kind of work do you do with your photography?
I do a lot of branding work and corporate work.
So you're published in a lot of wedding magazines. So tell me about your different publications.
Done all kinds of work for like Today's Bride and all the different wedding industry magazines. But I also wrote an article that had a bunch of work published in with Dreamer to Creator. And it's an entrepreneurial magazine. So I've done a lot of the entrepreneurs that are in there. All my branding work was submitted with their work and sold in chapters and Indigo all around the world.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it was a very neat experience.
And I also hear you're a teacher.
Yes, I am.
Do we call you professor?
Yep, over at Mohawk College in Hamilton.
Oh, wow. What do you do there?
I teach photography, thankfully.
You teach photography?
Yeah.
Wow. So you are a real expert.
I try to be. I'm still learning myself too all the time and growing and seeing the new techniques that the world's bringing out, but teaching the next generation.
Okay. So do you see any trends that are happening recently with photography?
There's some good and some bad ones. Some of the stuff that's going on, that if it's done right, the blurs that are coming across right now with photographers, if it's done tastefully, it's great. Otherwise, it just looks like you didn't know what you're doing.
Do you have any different experiences with different cultures or different types of ethnicities for weddings?
I love shooting different cultures. I like being exposed to all the different stepping on the glass, jumping the broom, or all the different prayers that happen during weddings. I think making things keep it traditional, but still implementing some new things. I think it's great.
Jessica, how do you approach engagement sessions differently than when you shoot on the wedding day?
I think engagement sessions gives the photographer a chance to be a little bit more personable, kind of figure out all the kinks and quirks to each couple, get them to relax a little bit. And usually I'm super awkward to start off a session, so it kind of breaks the ice for everybody. And then it just feels natural after that. It doesn't feel pressured or anything. Joke around with them, have some fun, and get to know them before the big day. So when wedding day comes, it just feels we're hanging out again.
Okay. Can you share me a very memorable engagement session you've done?
One of my favorites was actually during winter, and my client for months was like, I really want a snowstorm. Like, all right, you call me when you've got a snowstorm in your area and we'll meet and we'll shoot. And she called me at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and it was a blizzard, like 4 feet of snow, blizzard. Are you ready? Let's do it. And it was probably one of my most memorable engagement sessions.
Well, aren't you worried about your camera equipment, like in a blizzard? Like, is it going to be okay?
I trust in my gear. It's, for the most part, it's water resistant-ish, but yeah, I've got insurance for that.
Yeah. What kind of gear do you have?
I run everything Canon for the most part. I've got some Sigma lenses, but Canon's been my baby since the start of my career.
Okay, awesome. And how do you collaborate with other wedding vendors, like on the wedding day?
I try to be as laid back as possible. I'm a pretty easygoing photographer on the day of. If there's a big videography team there, I let them take the lead and I just kind of work shoulder to shoulder with them. Ideally, clients have got their planners that have got their day scheduled and worked all out. So you just let them take the lead, and I like to be on time. So if we've got a plan, I stick to it. And if we've got 15 minutes left to get all the shots we need, it happens.
So what's your planning process when you're planning the wedding day out, like in terms of photos? What kind of, do you have like a different planning process you use for that?
I tell all my clients, especially my brides, that to start the day, I like to be there when they're 3/4 of the way done hair and makeup. So that way I'm not just sitting around waiting to finish up all that stuff. But I usually tell them to start with the most important thing at the end of the night and work their way backwards. So whether it be the cake cutting or the bouquet toss or the garter toss, if they're still choosing to do those things, that being your last important moment, and count how many hours backwards that you want me there for.
Can you tell me about a time that there was a very challenging moment, but you captured it beautifully?
It's usually around the late fall, early winter when you think you have so much sunlight left, and then the sun's gone. It peaks behind a cloud or hit behind the mountains, and you got to work with whatever light you've got and your knowledge of your gear.
And so, Jessica, I also heard that you do behind the scenes branding for wedding vendors. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I've been hired a few times to go for videographers or coordinators or caterers, and I literally just spend the day shooting what their business entails on a wedding day. Give them some content for social media, their websites. Gives them some experience, gives me some experience, and then you get to kind of hang out and meet some new people, network a little bit bigger.
Now, for lighting, in terms of lighting, how do you handle different lighting situations in different venues?
If it's close enough to home, I like to go and see the venue beforehand. If it's not, then you kind of work off the fly of your seat, and I'm pretty good at working with whatever's available to me, whether it be natural or artificial. I do carry a couple light sources with me on a wedding day if need be, but yeah.
And what does your post-production process look like?
It's usually a couple weeks worth of work.
Yeah.
But I try to get it done so my clients can have their gallery 4 to 6 weeks after the wedding, because they're still like honeymoon excited. You don't want to wait 3-4 months to get your stuff, and they're kind of over it at that point.
Right.
But I try to call it down. The thing that I take pride in is that I don't give you, like, if it's a 10-hour day, I shoot anywhere between 100 and 150 images per hour. That gets called down, obviously, because you'll get the funny faces or the half eye open and half eye closed or whatever. But I pick out what I love the most, but I also leave in a few extras, because what you love is going to be different than what I love. And I don't want to be the person to tell you that image wasn't good enough. So as long as it fits my brand and my business and represents me properly, it's all out there for them.
Now, how do you make couples feel comfortable in front of the camera?
Definitely being the awkward one, bringing up a funny conversation or a topic. And I try to get it to be more natural. Like, I'm not a huge posy person. So I'll give them instructions on how to do a task. And it's the in-between moments that are the best shots.
So when a customer is on your website, is there packages, or do they build custom packages, or how does that work?
I do encourage my clients to reach out to me directly through email. That way I can kind of get a feeling for what their budget works for, what their needs are for the day of. So once they've emailed me, we could chat back and forth between hours. Typically, I like to work based off of hours. So if they want a short and sweet, intimate, elopement style, or very quiet kind of a wedding day, you do like a 6-7 hour day. And then if you have a much bigger day, 300-400 guests, you're doing like a 10-hour day. So I prefer them to email me and chat directly so I can customize to what they want for their day.
Great. And how do you deliver the photos? Like, when your gallery is done, how do the couples get the photos?
So everything is a private downloadable gallery, and it's delivered directly to the bride and groom. And they can download one image, they can download 100, they can download the full gallery, they can share it with any family and friends. And it's all done through email, so it's pretty user friendly.
So what do you hear most often about the client's experience with you at weddings?
How laid back I am, relaxed, keep them on time, still fun and outgoing enough to keep them laughing throughout the day, and personable. I don't let them feel pressured throughout the day. I want them to feel like it's their day and I'm 100% there for them.
Tell me about a challenging moment you've had at a wedding and how you handled it.
When a groom's father did not want to be part of photos.
Oh, wow. What did you do?
I literally took him aside, took a shot of his body, and just photoshopped him in after.
Really?
Yeah.
So we know you're a teacher. You do a lot of work in the photography industry. What do you see for the future for JLP Studios?
Hopefully to keep rocking the wedding world. I do a lot of destination weddings, so I'm hoping to get into Europe a little bit more. Kind of travel as much as I can with my business.
What are the different places you've traveled to doing photos?
I've been to majority of the islands down south, Hawaii. I've been to 2 places in Europe, so I'm hoping to add to that.
So Jessica, I've always wondered, like, how many hours total do you put into a wedding client from start to finish, say engagement, shoot, and wedding?
So from the very first hello to the end of a wedding gallery being delivered and our last kind of goodbye that's entitled to a wedding is anywhere between 60 to 80 hours per couple.
Wow, that is a lot of work.
Yeah, between phone calls and emails, meeting for coffee, going over timelines, the engagement shoot, the post-production work, the wedding day, and all the post-production work. It's a lot, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, Jessica, thank you very much for joining us here on Wedding Win. If you guys want to see Jessica's Wedding Win profile, you can visit weddingwin.ca or just visit the link below and you can check out her profile there.